Hi, I'm Chuck Dorsett for Weaver Leather Supply, and this is the Leather Element. If you've got a good question for us or a good idea for a leather element, drop it in the comment box below. Also, if you want to know when our videos release, just click your notifications. You'll know exactly when these come out. So speed, in a production shop, top priority. In our craft shop, not so much. But if we can spend less time on the tedious steps, we have more time on the fun steps. That's the point of this video. Now, we're going to do 10 billets in 10 minutes. We're going to do a tongue side and a buckle side. So basically 20 pieces, start to finish, start to ready to assemble. Let's see if we can do this. Let's step over here though and look at what we're going to do. We've got the perfect example for this video. We're going to go with a rapier carrier. Now, if you're not familiar with these, just think of the Three Musketeers, that era, flamboyant clothing, the big rapiers, the big basket hilts. Well, we need an equally big and flamboyant sword carrier. So that's what a rapier carrier is. But notice all the billets on this. That's why it's a great example for this video. Now, I make these in 4, 6, 8, and 9 buckles. Simply just different designs. But I also use these same billets on about 5 or 6 different frog and dagger carriers. So I use these a lot. Now, on our sizing here, we're at 6 inches by 5/8, 3 inches by 5/8, or 5/8, 1.58 centimeters for our width, 7.62 centimeters, and 15.24 centimeters. Now, I said 10 and 10. We've only got 8 here. That's right. We're going to make 2 extras, just in case we have a bad one. I don't think we will. So basically what we're doing is every 5th one we make, we don't have to make any billets. Nice. Okay, so we're not going to do this scientifically. I'm just going to use my phone. We're going to get close. But let's see if we can knock out 10 of these, 10 sets from start to ready to assemble in 10 minutes. Let's see how this goes. So let's step over to our main table, strap out some leather. Now I'm going to do my best not to chew up our time talking. That's not the point here. 10 minutes, that'll just get me going. But what we're going to do, we'll talk, then we'll do. So I'm going to bust a straight edge in my leather here. This is our 4 to 5 ounce Weaver Select. Then we'll strap it with our wooden strap cutter. Groove. We're going to groove both sides, and then we'll trim to size. So with this, we've got about, let's see, right at 25 inches. So we're going to be able to get 4 out of each strap. So what we'll do is let's cut 4 straps. We'll have a little extra left over, but that's always good. So let's start and see what happens. We've got our 4 straps. Let's drop down our straight edge, and we're going to put a groove just about 1/8 of an inch from the edge on all 4, both sides. We've got a good groove on both sides. Let's get that out of the way. We're just a little over 2 minutes now. There we go, if those will cooperate. Now let's bust these down to length. So I need 6s and 3s. Square in. There's my knife. Let's trim that square. All right, we need 6s and 3s. And there we go. Okay, let's stop that. Let's see, we just got a couple extra there, but that's okay. There's 10 and 10. All right, let's take care of our holes. For this, we're going to drill our holes. Now, a punched hole, far superior because we actually burnish the hole when we punch that. But if I'm doing small straps and a lot of them, or rivet holes and I have to stack, I'm absolutely going to drill. But here's a good point. This obviously has served me well, judging from the use. Drilled holes. This is more than 2 decades old, so they're holding well for me. Now on our drill bit, 1/8 of an inch or 3.17 millimeters. That's a good size for our strap, but really that more depends on the prong on our buckle. That's going to give us plenty of room here. Now, a plate. I've got a metal plate on the bottom, and we can find these at just about any hardware store. But what I'm going to do is lay this down, and I'm going to drill a hole in this. So therefore, the back of our strap is going to get sheared off. You'll see we're going to get a beautiful hole out of this. Now, when we drill this, I'm going to go about 5 at a time. I can go a few more, but let's keep it here. That gives us a very consistent hole, but at the same time, because we used our strap cutter, consistent width on every one of these straps. Now, last point, what I'm going to do is I'm always going to butt to one end or the other, and I'm going to drill all my holes on that, because if we have 15 or 20 straps going across, they are all going to line up perfectly as long as we butt to one end. All right, so we're at 3:35. Let's start our clock and do some drilling. Look at that, our holes are clean, they're consistent on our back, sheared off and looking good. Now think about this, we just drilled 100 holes in a little more than 2 minutes. Okay, let's step over, punch our round end, English and oblong. We're going to go with a 5/8 inch round end and English point. Now for a lot of us that's a bit of an obscure size. 3/4 is going to work, even an inch will work. But right here, we're going to drop in an English point on our long straps, our tongue straps, on our buckle straps. I'm going to drop in a 3/4 inch oblong. Now, rule of thumb, 5/8 strap, 5/8 oblong. But I want to give the end of that buckle prong just a little more room to move around than a 5/8 inch round end right there. So let's start and let's see how fast we can knock these out. Okay, those look good, centered nicely, good looking straps. Over here, let's jump over to a round end on our end with 2 holes in it. Those will be our rivet holes to connect first off our buckle and then to connect to our project. And now our oblong. Okay, there we go. So let's stop there. Again, about 2 minutes to punch all of these pieces. But it's pretty easy to line our oblongs up, because when these sit down in there, I can see my groove lines. Easy enough to line those up. Let's set up to get these dyed. Let's go with our timeless classic, a good, rich Pro Dye black. In fact, I'm not even going to use gloves here. What we're going to do, this is simply baling wire. We can get this at any hardware store. But notice I've made a hook out of this. What we'll do is we're going to load all our tongue side on one, all our buckle on the other. But we're going to do this top grain to top grain and flesh to flesh. So therefore, when these are on the hook, what they'll do is they'll actually bow out a little bit between our top grain. So if we're doing a brown or a red, they're not going to stick together, give us an inconsistent dye. But also, it's actually going to take longer to load these on our hooks than it is to dye these. So let's start right there. Okay, those are loaded on. So let's separate those a little bit. Just dip them in our dye bin. Bang the sides, and all I'm going to do with that is just hang it up and let it dry. Okay, let's stop. We're at 9 minutes, 16 seconds. We're getting close. But really all we have to do now is drop on a top coat. So I'm going to hang these up and give these about maybe hour and a half to dry. We've given our billets plenty of dry time. Now in my shop, if I'm doing production, I'm going to go with Sadillac. We've got 44 seconds left. We could absolutely nail it with this because we basically spray it on and walk away. The problem is we need big ventilation right here. But there's also a couple of tricks to making that work just right. So what we're going to do, let's go with our trusty leather balm. For those of us who don't have good ventilation, that's going to put us over on our time, but let's just see what it does. And there we are. Let's stop right there. 11.5 minutes. That's not bad. But nice looking billets. Got a nice gloss, a nice color. Our holes are straight, consistent, very cool. So how about 10 billet sets in 11 minutes, 26 seconds? That's still not bad. Well, in production, we've got to have that speed. As long as our quality doesn't suffer, and it hasn't. These look good. But for us crafters, if we can spend less time on the tedious, we get to spend more time on the fun. That's the point. I hope this is good information for you. Thanks for taking time to watch The Leather Element. Good luck with your projects.